only on the challenges of social science research. Therefore, here and there, we may miss certain issues which may be basic, and I may assume that it has already been discussed, and as such, I may skip. Whenever such things happen, if I am not clear to you, if you feel like posing questions or adding something, don't wait till I complete my statements. Take the liberty to stop me at any point of time. Raise your hand, unmute, and talk to me. You will be knowing, interacting with teachers or researchers online by making them mute listeners is a challenge, more than any challenge that we are going to discuss on social science researchers. Keeping you active and responsive to whatever I'm telling through the screen will become difficult unless you participate, unless you involve yourself and come out with questions. I'm sure that by this time you are familiar with research and research related issues. But as a matter of fact, instead of going for elaborating the research methodology and related issues, I will make a general attempt to tell you the inbuilt difficulties that any researcher into social science area will experience. The moment you use the word social sciences, people will think it is not absolute science. Am I reaching? Can anybody respond to me? Am I audible? Dear participants?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm audible, right? Okay, I must make sure. Otherwise, it's going to be one-sided communication without you are hearing me. There is no hints for me whether you are listening to me or not. Please respond as and when I ask for am I audible or something like that. Your response is the real motivator. Otherwise, it's going to be monotonous, one-sided communication. I'm sure as researchers, you have experienced the saying by other people that unlike science researchers, you are not going to any laboratory, you are not using any tools or techniques physically. Though you are using research tools, the physical tools and techniques that you are not using, and most probably research in social sciences is concerned with studying, editing, reproducing the theories that have already been developed by somebody. Such a wrong notion is prevailing everywhere, including in academics. But the real researchers into the field of social sciences can only experience, understand the difficulties that are involved in making a true research. I'm using the word a true research in social sciences because social science is the most dynamic field when compared to any other field, because it is the field that involves human beings directly. In my opinion, you can handle anything effectively under the sun, but not the human beings. Managing human beings, interacting with human beings is the toughest task, though we know that we are all the same and man is a social animal and we can comfortably be with others. But anything connected with the society is a challenge. Society is the most dynamic force, powerful than the atomic energy also sometimes. You can mute or neutralize the atomic energy, but not the human beings. Human beings at any point of time can think in more than one different ways, and their interpretations, their expectations will vary from time to time. As such, I am making a simple attempt to highlight what are the challenges that we normally experience while doing research in the field of social sciences. Social sciences includes all other areas which we have separated. Though the NEP says these days that let there not be any separation of subjects as science, arts, commerce, or something like that. Only thing what we are doing is about knowledge. But for our convenience, we have demarcated the knowledge into different boundaries like the science, arts, commerce, law, medicine, things like that. Except the science faculty, the rest of the things can be comfortably brought under the banner social sciences. Social sciences concerned with studying the people and their society, issues related to people and their society. Therefore, let us make an attempt to understand as researchers, as researchers. I'm sure by this time, most of you may be halfway through the research, and some of you that have completed the research, and some of you may be guiding the researchers, and you may be concerned with publishing research papers and things like that. Because my understanding is that I am talking to a group of teachers and the researchers. As such, I will be making a very precise presentation before you. Feel free to raise questions, objections, criticisms, or comments. Let me take you first through a simple academic definition of what is a research is all about. As you know, research is an in-depth and exhaustive search for information and knowledge in order to increase our understanding of the phenomenon with which we are concerned or interested. The phenomenon with which we are interested is nothing but the society, the social issues, human-related issues, human-related problems. When you make an in-depth and exhaustive search for knowledge, not just for information, for knowledge, in order to enhance our understanding, to make ourselves comfortable, to make ourselves competent to interact with them. For that purpose, we conduct the research. You will be knowing research may be for the purpose of enhancing one's knowledge, and as a testimony for enhancing this knowledge, it may be to obtain a degree, an award, a recognition, a certificate from an agency, maybe government or non-government agency. Sometimes it may be the sponsorer who give funds for doing that research. Under that situation, we should know what are the probable problems that we are going to experience. Whatever be the objective of this research, let it be for the purpose of getting a degree or an award, or for generating information for the policymaker, let it be the government or any private sponsoring agency. Let there be objectives for what you are doing. Let there be the purpose which made you to do this research. If you are clear with the purpose, that will solve half of your problem. There's a popular saying, anything that you do without knowing what you are doing, is like a ship without a place of destination. When a ship moves on the sea or ocean, the drivers, the captain at least, must know where he or she is trying to reach. If you don't know the destination, then the entire journey will become futile. In order to avoid that, one must have a clear objective for the research. Why we are doing this research? A research into what? A research into why? A research for what purpose I am doing? That clarity must be there. Normally, any research is an organized investigation of a problem. An organized investigation about a problem. Problem may be numerous. For all the problem, we cannot come out with a solution. But we must recognize the problem for which we are caring, the problem about which we are thinking to come out with a solution. Solutions might have been already suggested by somebody, and that solution may not have served the purpose, and that solution may not have removed the problem from the minds of the people or from the society. As such, any research at any point of time is to identify the problem and to come out with a solution, or if there is already a solution, to improve, to make it better, that problem. So the very first question, the very first challenge that, like any other researcher, social science researchers are also experiencing is setting the direction, setting the objective, identifying the problem. Many a time, we start research without knowing why we are doing this. People say, why are you doing? It is for a degree. No, not necessary. We must come out with a clear purpose of your research. The purpose must be to come out with a solution to a problem. Unless you know the problem, you cannot come out with a solution at all. Problem properly understood is off solved. The problem properly realized is off solved. For that purpose, when you make a research proposal or when you start working on any social science research, try to have an elaborate and exhaustive literature review. That literature review and interaction with the learned people in your own field will enlighten you and open the avenue for identifying the problem. Recognize the problem. Then you can try to come out with a solution. Second thing, to get right solution of a right problem, clarify defined objectives, which is very important. Any research objective, when you make a research objective, that research objective must help you to clarify the problems that others have faced already and the solutions that others have come out with already, and what is the right solution for the right problem. When I say right solution and right problem, many a time we may fail to recognize the problem itself. Just as everyone has done a research in the particular field, we may also go there, we may also end up with finding something. So that the objectives that you are setting for your research must clarify and help you to identify the problems properly. Therefore, in my considered opinion, the very first thing that I would like to tell you is come out with clear objectives or the purpose of your research. Answer the question why this research is all about. Why I am doing this research. When I say why I am doing this research, don't come out with the answer, it is to get a degree. Forget about it. At the end of the day, after working so much, when you sit alone and discuss about, think back about what you have done and what you have achieved, there must be some clarity. There must be some light at the end of the tunnel to tell you that you have discovered this. Therefore, research objectives must be made clear and you must have clarity about the problem to be solved. There is a popular saying in English, a voyage of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. If you don't know in which direction you are putting that first step, you will end up with wrong destination. When you come to social science research, problems are numerous. Every problem appears to be important. But every problem appears to be, as already discussed by somebody, studied by somebody. Nothing is new on this earth. Because since the day of human civilization started on this earth, man has started investigating. Man has started thinking differently, making imaginations differently. As such, nothing is absolutely new when it comes to social science research. Everything has already been exposed, discovered. Everything has been analyzed. What is new? Unless you establish the context, unless you give a justification for saying it is something unique, your research carries no weightage and it will not give you fruitful results, because it will also going to be the 11th one. Already 10 findings are there, you are going to add one more. That will not make you any specialist, that will not help you to get any recognition, appreciation, at least by the concerned people in your own field. For that purpose, first thing, know the research, know your research objectives. As I was telling, I am going to focus on these general issues. If you come out with any confusions, doubts, criticisms, or Any questions, feel free at any point of time. Followed by this, let me make you once again reconfirm or reaffirm yourself as to what is social science research is all about. Social science research is research involving social scientific methods, theories, and concepts which can influence and enhance our understanding of the social process and problems encountered by individuals and groups in a society. See the fun here. The major thrust area of any social science research is concerned with the people and their society. It is concerned with understanding the social process. The social process itself is both simple and difficult. It is simple because every day we are seeing it, unlike in a laboratory, every day we are experiencing, every day we are with them. As such, we think, I know everything. When you say, I know everything, you will not show detailed, in-depth inclination or interest to investigate. You take it for granted. Most of the social science research outcomes have been taken for granted by many people, thinking that what is there in it. The question what is there in it need to be answered properly, effectively. For that purpose, we must know all the problems, all the topics that we study under social sciences are concerned with understanding the social process and the problems encountered by individuals and groups in the society. Needless to elaborate, the subject concerned with the social science researchers, it can be not necessarily all the time sociology, social work. It can be economics, political science, public administration, literature for that matter. Anybody and everybody who is concerned with man and his environment, man and his society is a researcher into social science. It can be business, commerce, law for that matter, education for that matter, law, education, economics, wherever there are people, even medicine, medicine without the basics of social science will become incomplete. When we study about the people, we must know their social setup. We must understand the problems that they encounter in their day-to-day life in connection with the specific domain area of mind. A political science student must think of the individual and the social problems connected with politics, political theories, ideologies, power, authority, responsibility, etc. Same is the case with anthropology, sociology, economics, development studies, management, commerce, law. There are 100 different dimensions to the life of the human beings on this earth. You have to look into that. Look at it through the lens of your subject and expertise. Your subject and expertise. Say, for instance, when a political scientist looks at the society, when an economist looks at the society, when a sociology scholar looks at the society, when a commerce and management professor looks at the society, their emphasis, their perceptions are going to be different. You can identify 100 different problems. Many a time people say, everything has been researched. Everything has been researched. Where are the new topics? As long as man lives on this earth, every day he will create new problems and he will find out new solutions. Therefore, we need to understand that this is concerned with the problems encountered by the society at large and the individuals in particular. Normally, this type of researches are undertaken by, as I was telling, psychologists, sociologists, economists, political science, anthropology, law, management, commerce, social work, name the subject where people are involved. That is the field of social science research. Many a time people think that what is there to research in social sciences, it is known to everybody and it is a substitute for common sense. But I am the one to tell you that common sense is not that common. Most of the biggest problems on the earth are happening because of lack of common sense. Lack of common sense. If everyone is blessed with equal amount of common sense, there will not be problems at all. Why does two countries fight each other? At the end of the day, what do we expect on the earth? Peace and harmony, happy living. How to make this world a better place to live happily, peacefully, and how to establish harmony in the society. That is the ultimate objective of any social science research. Many a time, it is the lack of common sense that makes people to fight each other, makes people to indulge in unethical, unwanted, illegal activities. How to avoid this? For this purpose only, we conduct research. The research is to understand the problems the people are facing and come out with solution. To break the monotony, if I give you 1 or 2 minutes, as social science thinkers, what is your understanding of the present day society and what are the new challenges that the present society is experiencing? Can you think for a while and come out with your opinion? What are the new challenges the present societies are facing? Why the society is like this today? What should be the purpose of the researchers who are concerned with social science researchers? Forget for a while, it is to get a degree. No, that is the consequence. When a society goes wrong, everybody speaks about the thinkers of that society. They are nothing but the academicians, intellectual community. It is the quality of the intellectual community that reflects the quality of the society, the quality of thinking, ideologies, philosophies, way of life, culture. The society in which we are living today is characterized by certain things. If somebody asks you quickly, how do you describe the present society? What is your answer? Can anybody unmute and speak for 1 or 2 minutes so that monotony can be killed? I'm using the word killed because using the word killing these days is not abnormal. Many a time people say, why are you doing this? Just to kill time. Killing has become very common. Atrocities, exploitations, humiliations. Other than this, what social science thinkers can think? What is the objective of social science? Ultimately, it is to make the life of mankind comfortable, meaningful, healthy, happier. I think I'm right. Am I right? Do you agree with me? Anybody? Illa andre illa me. This is the ultimate objective. Okay. Therefore, my point is to tell you that it is not just common sense, and common sense is also uncommon. And at least through our research, if we make people to use common sense effectively, that is the greatest contribution that we can give to the society. There will be theories, facts, use your personal life experience, experiments. Life experience and experiments can be interpreted effectively in social sciences. Unless a social science researcher have the ability to interpret, capacity to apply his experience in his research, it is going to be just mechanical. Don't make your research a mechanical one. Love the topic, love the area that you are studying. Try to come out with something meaningful, useful for the people at the end. In one way or the other, It is going to be an addition to the existing body of knowledge. But knowledge should not remain in the books alone. It must be usable. It must be applied somewhere to solve the problems that the society is facing. That is the objective of social science research. What are the characteristics of social science researchers which determine the challenges, which shows the challenges for us? The first and the most prominent issue, that is the character which also generates challenge for us, is that complexity of problems related to human beings. Every problem that we are studying is connected with the human beings only. The moment you say human beings, the most dynamic, the most complicated, most challenging entity on the earth. Studying about the human beings itself is the toughest task. Understanding the machine is easy. Understanding the machine is easy. Understanding the human mind, nobody can predict what type of thinkings are happening at a given point of time in a mind, and what conclusions he or she is going to drive, lead. Nobody can predict absolutely. That is the problem. And when you go for data collection, you may go with a structured questionnaire or a question schedule, or sometimes even you may do it through observations. Whatever you have observed, whatever you have listened, whatever the answers they have given must not be taken as the end of itself. There must be silver lines between that. You have to read between the lines. Many a time, people think differently, interpret differently, and answer differently. By the time feelings become words, by the time feelings become answer, they might have undergone tremendous changes. Bias, prejudice, expectations, emotions. Man is a bundle of emotions, For one answer, you may be having for one question, you may be having 2-3 answers. And many a time, people will tell you what they think you love to listen. Am I reaching? Many a time, people answer in a way to convince you, to make you happy. They look at your face, they read through your eyes. What makes you happy? That answer they will give you. But they may be thinking differently. Therefore, first and the most complicated challenge is about the human beings. But we have to live with them. I'm not passing a remark to say that don't do that. Without that, there is no life at all. We have to be with that, live with that. It is fundamental to our existence. Challenge is the nature of the human beings. And remember, human beings are not the same all over the world, Country-wide, continent-wide, region-wide, state-wide, city-wide, village, family makes the human beings different. What people say in rural area may not be acceptable in urban pockets, and vice versa. Educated and uneducated, skilled and unskilled. Okay? So that you must be clear as to what type of people you are focusing and what is their nature. That itself, see, I'm honestly telling, one life is not enough to understand the nature of human beings at all. But we must know the target. The target we are emphasizing, the focusing. Study about them, that's it. One cannot be good in understanding both the ruralates and the urbanates, educated and the uneducated, young and the old, the mentality of the youth and the middle-aged. gender-based thinking, men and the women, problems of men, women, third gender, problems of mentally, physically, specially enabled people. They are different. Married, unmarried, they are different. Therefore, complexity of the problem is concerned with human beings only. So that the first thing is, it is concerned with the discovering new facts to test and establish facts. Our research is aiming at discovering understanding the established facts about the area with which we are concerned, let it be political, economic, social, anthropological, etc., and discovering the new facts. New things may not be absolutely new. New things may add value. New things may deduct something from the existing theory. Adding, deducting, highlighting something has already been established is also a research. Followed by that, analyzing the relationship with individuals, institutions, or the environment. This is another important thing that we do about social science research. What is the crux of the social science research in any subject, you know? The crux of social science research is studying the relationship between individuals and the institutions. That's it. You can understand what are institutions. It can be the government. It can be the family. It can be the organizations, business organizations. It may be about friendship. It may be about a religion. It may be about a social institution like marriage, divorce, education, about schools, teaching, learning. Okay, as teachers, you know, you might have noticed tremendous difference in the mindset of the students after COVID. If at all I ask you to comment on the change in the students' attitude in the classrooms, you know, how will you describe that? Any comments on this? Students' attitude in the post-COVID era. Assume that you are doing a research on this. Students' attitude, learning abilities, socializing behavior of students. You might have seen that too in the metropolitan cities, many students are suffering from depression. Many students are subjected to psychological disorders, discontinuing their education, absent from the classes, showing a sort of suicidal tendencies. Do you think I am right in my perspective? Any comments on this? Have you noted any significant change in the behavior of your students after the COVID-19? Why nobody is speaking? If anybody would like to comment,
yes, sir.
Yes. Madam, if you can comment, you can. So that others will become alert. Have you noted any changes?
Yes, sir. Depressed activities.
Please.
Depressed activities, yeah. Depression.
Ah.
And they lost interest in their day-to-day activities too.
Yes, yes. And many a time they appears to be becoming philosophical in their outlook, thinking that what is there in life at that very young age, you know, they have reached a state wherein they speak too much of philosophical, spiritual, instead of being active and dynamic. I'm not to say that that is bad. I'm not using the word philosophical just to say that it is not good. But at what cost? Youngsters must be dynamic, experimentative. They try with different things to reach heights. But today, after the pandemic, there is a big difference in their behavior. Understanding that is a challenge. And the teachers are in a difficult position to motivate them. That can be a topic for study. Students' behavior, teachers' reaction, parents' reaction. What are they missing? That we can study. So that analyzing the relation with the individuals and the institution and the environment at large is the biggest problem. Environment is also changing. We can't control the environment. It's not a laboratory. For social science researchers, external environment is the laboratory, uncontrollable laboratory. We have no hold. In order to make your student to study seriously, shout at them. It is not admitted. It is not permitted. Parents will say, we ourselves are not asking, why are you troubling yourself? Society says, this is not the tone in which you should speak. Now change your voice, change your modulations, change your body language. Student says, don't look at me like that. I cannot tolerate. So that analyzing the relationship with individuals and the institutions and the environment. Say, for instance, it may be about the suicidal tendencies of the working class people, farmers' suicide, failure of agriculture, government policies towards the upliftment of several sections of the society, creating awareness, media habits, analyzing the relationship with individuals, institutions, and the environment. When I say this, this is to study about the issues connected with this. Media, law and the people, media and the people, technology and the people, use of mobile phones. These are all the new things before us. Social science research need to address all these problems. And one more thing, studying relationship between human beings and the natural laws. You can understand what are natural laws. Already established natural principles are there. We use the word natural laws and natural justice. Now, our social science researchers must address these problems and come out with viable, meaningful conclusions which will make again our life and living on the earth comfortable for all of us, not for one person. The ultimate objective is to make mankind happily lead his life. Followed by this, I'm not going to elaborate on this, but still you should know, research is always concerned with searching for facts. Facts are scarce, but it is everywhere. When I say scarce and everywhere, it is not visible. It should be digged into. It is not that easy. So that facts, answers, solutions, and information to reach conclusions. Our research must help us to identify facts. Sometimes the lie appears to be very beautiful, attractive. Many people love that lie because of its vibrancy, because of its colorfulness. But facts are scarce. Facts are always masked. You have to unmask, unveil the facts. Answers for the questions. There are so many unanswered questions in the social science area. Let it be in politics, let it be in economics, let it be in sociology, anthropology, business. In every field, there are several unanswered questions that must be answered. Solutions and information to help policymakers to help people to arrive at logical conclusions. It is an endeavor to discover, develop, and verify knowledge. It's an intellectual process that has developed over hundreds of years. Laboratories and other things are subsequent. Even in terms of age, man first started thinking through his mind only. Now we talk about artificial intelligence, robots, that, this and all. Social science research is the basic, first type of research. It's an intellectual process that has developed over hundreds of years, ever changing in purpose. Purpose is not the same. Though the research is always there, purpose varies from researcher to researcher. The form, the methodology may be different, but ultimately it is for searching for the truth. It is for searching for truth. Then if you start talking about what is truth, that itself can take hours together. What appears to be true to somebody may not be true to everybody. But ultimately we say truth prevails. What is the truth? Social science research is to find out the truth about something in question, something that we are analyzing, something that we are studying. There are two ways for searching the facts and the truth. One is the arbitrary approach, other one is the scientific approach. Arbitrary approach, anybody can make use. Arbitrarily, without any basis, people can speak. But I and you cannot speak like that the moment we call ourselves researchers. Arbitrary approach, without any basis, evidence, justification, people can speak. People can come out with solutions, suggestions. But a researcher all the time needs to be scientific in his approach. Scientific. Making the social science more scientific, again, is a challenge. You cannot, like a future teller who tells something by looking at the sky, or somebody who speaks as they think through their own imaginations. But you are a researcher. All your things, all your findings, all your work must be scientific. Now the question is how to make the research scientific. What are the qualities of a scientific research? A scientific research is a systematic one, controlled one, empirical, through critical investigation of hypothetical propositions about the presumed relationship among natural phenomena. Phenomena are natural here. Man is the same wherever you go. Human beings are the same wherever you go. But the factors that influences them may be different. The things that attract them may be different. Man is the same. But the things that he or she loves, hates, may be different. The way of life, what they appreciate, what they encourage, what they like, may be different, but man is the same. It's a natural phenomenon. Man is natural here. But the moment you say society, the social happenings. So every society has a different culture. Every society has a different artifacts. Every society has a different history. Every society has different types of stories and the heroes. I think I am reaching you. Please help me by saying, am I reaching you? Can you follow me? Okay. I think I am reaching you. Let me assume that I am reaching, otherwise I cannot go further. Therefore, scientific approach can be ensured in social science research through a systematic methodology, controlled experiments, empirical and critical investigations of the hypothetical proposition. When I say hypothetical proposition, you can understand the importance of setting objectives and hypotheses for social science research. For writing hypothesis, you need to have an exhaustive literature review. The more you study, the more literature you have gathered, powerful is going to be your hypothesis. But people will not concentrate on that, just come out with assumptions based on whatever they know. There is a lot to uncover. There is a lot to know. Review more and more literature. Work hard. Identify the issues and different dimensions to a single problem. Every problem has several dimensions. Come out with all these dimensions so that you can construct a good hypothesis. Formulating hypothesis is a challenge in social sciences because you cannot convince, you cannot encompass all sorts of people unless you have clearly defined to whom it is applicable, to whom you are targeting. Followed by that, any organized inquiry designed and carried out to provide information for solving a problem can make it scientific. My only point is to say that make your thinking systematic, controlled, empirical, and critically investigative so that the challenge of scientific temperament can be addressed. Needless to elaborate, any research, particularly in social science researches, can be answered through two different approaches. As I told you, I'm not going to elaborate on methodology, but it can be through the inductive approach and the deductive approach. One makes you to move forward and the other one makes you to think backward. Whether you think backward or forward, your thinking is influenced by the stock of your knowledge. Again, your knowledge will be put into test. How much you know about something that makes you either to become loose or competent in making imaginations. Induction and deduction approach can be used effectively only when based on the strength of your understanding of the problem. First of all, understanding the social science problem itself is a big challenge. That challenge will make us to look into, yes. I saw a message while talking to you on the chat box. I just saw some two informations. Who can see your message? Students are easily deviated. Yes, sir, history is mother of social science, which deals with human in the past. Yes, I do agree with you. History is the mother of all sciences. But speaking about only history will not make you to think about the future. History must be the basis for thinking. That could be the reason for people to say that if you forget history, you cannot create history at all. But only talking about the history will not make you to become great. Just becoming past or the old is not going to be historical. To be historical, there must be some contribution, some enhancement of the things that are already with us. That is the real thing that we need to keep in mind when we undertake the social science researches. Just to make you to reconsider the process of research, I'm using this word as steps in scientific thinking. This is nothing but research methodology only. How to think scientifically? The first thing is come out with a definition of the problem that you are supposed to study. About what you are studying. Say, for instance, somebody has messaged me that history is the queen or the mother of all social sciences. No doubt. But now you have to study about the relevance of history. How history can be written. Why there are disputes about the historical facts. Even the history is not the same as everybody knows, There is a conflict. That is the big rivalry going on before us. Somebody's hero is somebody's villain. Somebody's evidence is somebody's creation. So that historically, you have to come out with a solution for this only when you have a clear definition of the problem, what you are going to address, how to make history factual, accurate, real. See, unfortunate thing is, whatever the words that I use, they are all emotional. When I say real, when I say great, when I say hero, when I say villain, these are all emotional. One's choice may be, others' opposition. There may be opposition for one's choice. As people say, one's food may be others' poison. One's like may be others' source of hate, disliking. Therefore, to make it scientific, first come out with a definition of the problem you are facing. How to make history factual. How to write accurate history. How to document accurate history. Survey of past experience with the problems of previous investigations. See, this is another thing. You have to make investigations that are useful for the future, but you can use the data that was past. Based on the past data, you have to predict the future. You have to investigate the future. As a result, that leads to confusion, anxiety, tension, personal prejudice, bias, pressure from external forces, things like that. Many a time, social science researchers are subject to this. Past experience and the present reality are different things. Future imaginations and the present reality are the different things. Okay. Just think of the pros and cons, happenings, creations, etc. concerned with COVID-19 itself. Think of the imaginations, think of the realities, use, abuse. Okay, there are several dimensions. Followed by that, formulation of hypotheses indicating tentative solutions. When you formulate hypothesis for your social science research, that must be indicating the solutions of what you are trying for. Say for, let it be in history, economics, political science, sociology, anthropology. Your hypothesis must be concerned with the future anticipated solutions or the outcome that you are trying to come out. In that form, hypothesis must be made. Why are you studying this? Ultimately, what do you want to get? That must be reflected in the hypothesis that you make. Collection of new data and evidences. Most of the time, the social science researchers are charged for writing the report based on the secondary data that has already been kept in the library. People ask a question, whether the thesis is for the library or for the users. Already in the library, you have got information. Based on that data, you have to predict. You have to come out with something new. Collection of new data and new evidences will strengthen your findings and makes it more scientific. Analysis of the data and summarization by quantitative treatments. Many a time, qualitative research is also appreciated, but based on the topic, the nature of the subject, nature of the problem that you are trying to solve, use quantitative treatment, make a quantitative treatment, statistical, mathematical tools. Mathematical tools will help you to arrive at logically, mathematically acceptable solutions, acceptable outcomes rather. And the outcome that you are getting must be worked for generalization. Your research must not be subject to too many limitations. Many students, before completing the thesis, comes out with a dozen of limitations. Don't focus too much on the limitations. Your research outcomes must be applicable in most of the places, because man is the same everywhere, with some exceptions. Say, for instance, an American, a Japanese, an Indian may be culturally different, emotionally different, but there are certain things which make them to be the same. Maybe about a topic in question, say for instance, about love, about family, about money, about business, about future. Wherever there are similarities, wherever it can be generalized, there must be more scope for generalization. Such a result will be appreciated. What is truth? Truth is something that remains the same wherever you go. If your research comes out with something of that nature, everybody will appreciate, and it can be applied anywhere and everywhere. But to come out with such output through social science research calls for scientific thinking. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. Followed by this. To make your research effective at the first instance, you need to throw light on the known and the unknown things. Make yourself clear what is known to us, what is unknown. Concentrate on the unknown. Try to make an extension of the knowledge. Don't confine to the knowledge that is already there. Knowledge is something that always keep changing. You have to change. You can change the knowledge. We are all the creators of knowledge, you know. Not we can create knowledge only when we substantiate the information that we provide to others. We interpret the information in a meaningful way. After all, what is this knowledge? Knowledge is the spirit that acts the same, that serves the purpose. Knowledge is the power. Power can be used for different purposes, but power is the power. So that knowledge must be added through your research, and your research must verify and test the facts. This is another challenge for researcher. When you verify and test the facts, you know, you will become friend and foe to somebody, friend and enemy to somebody. When you go for verifying the facts about the social issues, sociological problems that leads to challenges, you must be tough enough to verify and test the facts related to your area. Analyze the interrelationship between different variables that you have used. Develop new tools and concepts and theories. Your research must come out with new theories. The moment you come out with a new theory, there will be opponents, there will be comments, criticism. Social science researchers experience more criticism than anybody else, because others will substantiate only by changing the formula, the numbers, etc. But social science researchers have to answer everything from the social perspective itself. The moment you discard some established facts and theory, you will become enemy, opponent, critic of somebody, unless you have that sustainability of tolerating all these attacks. Your research will not become acceptable. To make your research acceptable, test the facts practically, scientifically, by using modern tools which are different from the tools already in use by everybody. Let there be defense for you in the name of the tools that you have used. Okay. Therefore, the social science research ultimately aims at identifying general patterns and relationships, testing and refining theories, making predictions, interpreting culturally or historically significant phenomenon, exploring the diversity, giving voice to the voiceless, developing new theories related to social sciences. Let it be about the family, let it be about employment, let it be about money, let it be about relations, let it be about political power, ideologies, spirituality, religion, God, nature. About all these things, we can come out with these couple of things that I mentioned through the social science research. Particularly when you write a social science thesis, when you come out with a thesis, what is expected of you is validity, reliability, objectivity, and ethical neutrality. Ethical neutrality and the scope for generalization. Scope for generalization. Everybody must accept what you are saying. That must be the scope of social science research. I'm summarizing again the scientific objectives in social science research. The complexity of human nature makes the social science research more difficult and less accurate. External forces influences the prediction and forecasting of a social science researcher. Socio-political attitudes of the researcher influences the outcome. If you have orientation to some ideology, some philosophy, your findings are also going to be influenced by that. The scope of social science research and the testing laboratory is very wide and it is difficult for comprehension. The laboratory for social science research is very wide and comprehension is a tough task. Study of cause and effect is less exact in social science research due to the multiple and interdependent variables. Why people are happy? There is no one answer. Why there is sorrow in this world? There is no one answer. Why people are interested in politics? There is no one answer. Why do we need religion? There is no one answer. Multiplicity of answers, interdependency of these variables makes the findings of social science research difficult. But still, we can go for either a basic, a pure research or applied research based on the purpose. If it is an applied research, remember the sponsorer, remember the objectives of the sponsorer, the ultimate intention for which we are doing. If it is a basic research for enhancing knowledge, concentrate on something that makes you happy, that gives you a sort of satisfaction at the end of the research. Whatever you do, let it be scientific research or other basic research, ethics is always must be kept in mind when we deal with human beings. We must be ethical to our fellow people on the earth about the information they are given with consent, respect, confidentiality, anonymity. Ask what is possible and don't predict based on your capacity. No harm to researchers or subjects who have already done this. Our intention is not to insult, humiliate, disturb anybody. It is to put forth our own idea. We are not criticizing anybody. At that point of time, with the available information, with the available tools, that was the finding. But today, with the new things, I am making these findings. We must be humble, simple, considerate to the fellow researchers, past and the present. Followed by that, no deceit or lying in the course of research. We must always remember the consequences of publication. When you come out with some research and publish it, how the people take it, what are their expectations and reactions? Does it fulfill the ethical issues concerned with publications also? That must also be kept in mind when we do social science research. There is a lot to elaborate. I'm not going for that because I just thought these are the relevant things to be with you, and I made it. If you have any queries, comments, criticisms, open to you. Am I audible now? Class ಎಲ್ಲ ಮುಗಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ, ಕೇಳಿಸುತ್ತಾ?
Yes, sir.
Questions ಇದೆ, comments ಇದೆ. Even ಬೈಯೋದಿದ್ರು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾತಲ್ಲಿ ಬೈದಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಈ ತರಗತಿ 5 ಗಂಟೆವರೆಗ 5 ಕಾಲ್ವರೆಗ? Is it up to 5 or 5:15? 5 o'clock.